How can we differentiate between what is good and what is bad? All philosophers have wrestled with this question, and most of them have had vastly different answers. As we will see in this video, Plato thought that wisdom would lead to the good, and that the good was the most fundamental of all virtues. Without it, all else fails. In ancient Greece, before Plato, the Sophists had for a long time been convinced that man is the measure of all things. They believed that truth was relative to the subjective goal of each person. From a subjective perspective, the best thing one can do is to acquire more and more power and to acquire as much materialistic goods as possible. Plato refuted this idea and was critical of the Sophist philosophy. He claimed that the doctrines of the Sophists did not carry out their logical conclusions. They were just mouthpieces for the rich and powerful in society. After all, Plato believed that there is such a thing as objective truth and an objective good. He blamed the Sophists for many things, among them the corruption of society into hedonism, atheism, and false philosophy. That is one of the reasons why he tried to lay out an account of objective truth and to figure out what objective good really is. It seemed to him like most people had abandoned these questions. In short, Plato thought that you should aim for the good and protect yourself from the bad. It seems simple, but if you have no idea what the difference between the two are, then you might be in trouble. Plato is not very specific when he tries to identify the good, despite the fact that he believes it's something objective, which is true at all times, in all places, but he does point the reader in the right direction. It is possible that Plato wanted the reader to find out these answers themselves. In Plato's view, truth is not easy to get to. It requires some effort and a lot of questioning. You must realize that Plato generally believed that most things need to be properly scrutinized before the answer is revealed to the person asking the questions. So it is with the good and the bad. The mistake that most people make is that they look for shortcuts in these questions, single sentences that would suffice as good enough answers. But Plato goes in great lengths to discuss various routes this question will lead down to, in proper Platonic fashion. You have often been told that the idea of good is the highest knowledge, and that all other things become useful and advantageous only by their use of this. Without it, any other knowledge or possession of any kind will profit us nothing. Do you think that the possession of all other things is of any value if we do not possess the good, or the knowledge of all other things if we have no knowledge of beauty and goodness? It is only in The Republic that Plato explains how the form of the good is separated from all other forms, and that it is the highest divine principle. All the other forms are cast underneath it. Understanding all other forms is almost futile unless you first have an understanding of the good, because that is the form which will turn all of the other ones into their true selves. Plato has little respect of people with opinions or people who look for non-philosophical truths. According to Plato, it is necessary to understand the fundamental nature of reality, and by understanding it, you will, as a result, become as much like it as possible. In the allegory of the cave, Plato tried to explain both his theory of ideas and his idea of the good. He tries to explain how most people are like chained prisoners in a cave. What they perceive to be reality are only the shadows cast by puppet masters who are using the light of a bonfire. Neither the illusions nor the light that casts them are real. Whenever the prisoners talk about the objects that they see and give them a name, they are not talking about the real thing itself, but a shadowy representation of that idea. Plato illustrates here how all ideas are like this. Their physical counterparts, which we see in the real world, are not the things themselves, they are just poor representations of it. The pure idea can only be grasped by the mind, and to grasp something with your mind, you have to free yourself of your chains. Once you break free and see the real world outside of the cave, you will understand that the life you led up until that point had been fake. Outside, you will see the sun, which is shining brighter than anything else. The sun is clearly a representation of the good, but also of the illuminating effect of the world of pure ideas. Just like so many other philosophers have recognized, it seems like the bad is more accessible and in control than the good. As the allegory of the cave illustrates, most people are living like slaves without even knowing it. Only a select few people know how to break free from it. Plato is a pessimist in this sense. He believes that the good is so hard to get to and even to recognize that only the small minority of people who are capable of truly grasping the good should be in charge of society. But Plato can also be seen as an optimist, because despite all of the evils and injustice in our world, there is still some powerful good at the core of the universe which has the potential to overcome the bad. In a smaller scale, in our personal lives, Plato believed that it is necessary to apply wisdom in your life to get to the good. With wisdom and knowledge, a person can find value, meaning, happiness, and everything else which is connected to the good. Therefore, philosophers have an advantage in life because they are more capable of reasoning and the pursuit knowledge. At the same time, Plato is aware that there are many philosophers who go down the wrong path and who will not find the good. Whatever the good really is, it is up to each and every one of us to find out. Plato sends us out on a quest and gives us the right tools so that we can seek out the good ourselves. Once you are aware of its rareness and the difficulty in understanding it, you may try a little harder when searching for it. Do not expect the good to fall into your lap, but seek it out, scrutinize every corner, so that you will gain a proper understanding of it. Don't be fooled by easy answers. Enjoy the difficulty, because it will lead you somewhere good.